Alright, let's take a look at some of the surface tools. If I have my kind of standard tab open, we can see that we have this surface from 3 or 4 corner points, and if we expand this, we'll see some other options. These are all different options for creating different types of surfaces. Some of the most commonly used ones are this surface from 3 or 4 points, rectangular planes from corner to corner, and 3-point plane. Let's look at this 3-point plane one. It's really useful because it allows us to just enter the width and length of the rectangle. So I'm going to click on that, and in my top view I'm going to just start at the origin and move in the direction that I want to define the first distance. So let's say type in 8 inches, enter, and then click, and then move the cursor up, type in 4 inches, enter, and then click again. And in my perspective view, I'm going to switch this from wireframe to shaded so we can see our surface. If we click on surface from 3 or 4 corner points, we can define the surface that way. So let's click on that, and this time I'm going to click 3 points to define this. So let's say 1, 2, 3 points, and enter, and basically we end up with a triangle surface. You can also see on these surfaces that there are these other lines that are appearing, which are called isocurves, and these are representational. They're not curves that we can actually select. They're representing the kind of the surface itself and some of the attributes of the surface. So so these are kind of creating surfaces through these plane tools. Another very commonly used surface tool is extrude. So I'm going to just select these and delete these surfaces, and to show the extrude I'm going to create some different types of line segments. So let's select line segment, and I'm going to just draw a line, and let's draw some other shapes as well, other curve objects. I'm going to create a rectangle from corner to corner. I'll create a circle, and one more. I'm going to just create a control point curve. Okay, so now that we have these 2D curves, we can turn these into 3D surfaces by extruding. So we could type that in the command line, or if I switch over to my surface tools, you'll see basically the tools that were available when we expanded the 3 to 4 corner point tool in the standard toolbar. So let's click on extrude straight. I'm going to click on this and select my single line here and press enter, and you'll see that we have a couple of options in our command line. So for example, I could switch this to both sides equals yes, and now when I'm kind of moving the cursor vertically, you'll see that it's extruding in both directions. I'm going to switch this back to no, and I could type in a distance again. So I can either type in a distance or just left click, and again you'll see in all our viewports you can kind of see the surface here as well in the front and right, and in our perspective view. I'm gonna repeat that same command with all of these. So let's this time I'll just type in extrude curve, select the curve to extrude, enter. We end up with these kind of same options, and this time I'm gonna just hover over the endpoint of my other plane that I just created to define the height and snap to that. So I'll click there, and I'll just repeat that, enter with the circle, press enter to repeat the command, and enter one more time to extrude this curve. And so if I expand my viewport, you could start to see some of the different shapes that we're able to create by drawing the curve and extruding to generate this three-dimensional geometry.